one smart black boy. Mama ain't raised no fool. Put me anywhere on God's green earth. I triple my worth, mother. Come on, y'all. Javen on my mind today. I sell fire in hell. I am a hustler, baby. I sell water to a well. Come on. Come on, rap it with me. Come on, get the next fire. Never follow orders. Get your this is Big J.I. Come on. Will not lose ever. Come on, y'all. Let me tell you something. Jay will get you right, won't it? Jay will put all the right lyrics in your mind, making you feel like you can walk on water. Put some Jay on if you're feeling a little down. Jay will pick you right on up. Entrepreneur. Let me tell you my favorite rap artist, Mr. Sean Carter. Because when you listen to his lyrics, guess what? Even when he's talking about losses, he's talking about lessons, baby. Let me tell you something. Even when he's talking about making a little bit of money, he's talking about taking that little bit of money and flipping it into 5 times, 10 times, 20 times returns. He epitomizes what I believe is the embodiment of a wealth creator, of a business creator, of a hustler, someone who realizes that on the other side of no is T and yet. Look, some of y'all caught that. I'm gonna say that just one more time. He epitomizes, right? That losses are just lessons. And though you might start with a little bit, if you can flip it, right? If you can flip it in exceedingly and abundantly above all ways, you can turn a little bit into 5 times, 10 times, 20 times return. Listen, Jay knows that on the other side of no is a T and a yet. And in case you missed that, that's not yet. Right? Not no, it will never happen, but not yet, baby. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. Let me tell you what I tell myself whenever I experience a little bit of loss and disappointment, right? Ask myself, how long does impossible take? How long does impossible take? Difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week. I do this in my sleep. Come on now. Come on, bars. Difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week. Like Muhammad Ali said, impossible is always the starting point. If you make impossible the starting point, then you know that the possibilities in your life are endless. And that's the type of energy that I want to bring to the conversation tonight. We're going to talk about business creation. Yes, the topic of tonight's live is what are the appropriate steps that you take when you're creating an LLC. But this is what I want you to instill in your mind today before we get started. That though it might be hard, though it might be difficult, difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week. With enough effort, you can make money in your sleep. Come on, somebody, just where's my bar? Where's my microphone? I need to drop it. Come on, I'm gonna drop it for you. I'm gonna drop it for me. Come on now. Child, we starting with a word. Now, our topic tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is how can you start an LLC? We see floating around the internet all types of memes, right? Start an LLC, become a business owner. This is what you need to do. Just put these 3 letters after your business name and boom, you got a business. Well, it's not that easy. Today we're going to demystify the steps that you can take to create this type of enterprise in a way in which you do not have to employ the services of third-party businesses who could do it for you, but at a premium price. We're going to walk through it in such a way where you feel confident enough to follow these steps on your own and file your LLC paperwork with whatever state you choose. I want you to be confident. Listen. If you don't have confidence, come on now, confidence. If you don't have confidence, you are twice defeated in the race of life. You must have confidence in every single thing that you do. That's what Marcus Garvey says. Now let's go ahead and get started. Why is starting a business important? Well, one of the things that I teach on a daily basis is that the tax code was set up for entrepreneurs to win and employees to pay. In fact, the tax code is centered around incentivizing those entrepreneurs who attempt to create value for the economy. How the government decides that is how you create value in such a way where people respond by paying you, okay, or by transacting business with you. Now, I always say that every Black person should be an entrepreneur, even if you never considered owning a business, because the tax code allows for you to get a refund on the separate but unequal check that you're taxed on every single year. Come on, somebody. Because when you were just a W-2, you pay taxes before DD. What is DD? DD is direct deposit. You pay taxes before your direct deposit, and then you take that separate but unequal paycheck, and then you go out into the world and you buy those things that you deem what? Valuable. Your house, your car, your computer, your shoes, your hair, your earrings, whatever that might be, your lashes. Shout out to Trap Lashes for these lashes, Black-owned company. But you go out and then you get taxed on those things too. So being an entrepreneur enables for you to reduce that tax liability. Now, here's where things get a little tricky sometimes in the comments. Sometimes folks think that you have to choose between being an employee and being an entrepreneur. And that is certainly not true. For many entrepreneurs, they are working a W-2 job while they are filing a Schedule C profit loss form. Don't go nowhere. I don't want you to be like, girl, I don't understand what Schedule C is. Let me get on out of here and see what's popping over here on Gossip, on YBF, right? Shout out to those sites if you read them. But what I'm saying is that you can be a W-2 and work for somebody as their employee, but you can also start a business and file a Schedule C, which allows for you in Part 2 to write off any losses so that you can maximize your tax return or reduce your tax liability. You don't have to be either an entrepreneur or an employee. You can be both. And that's the beauty of understanding the language of wealth in such a way that where you can apply it in order to keep more coins in your pocket. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I want to talk about is value creation. When you're thinking about the type of LLC that you want to start, yes, you want to always keep tax benefits in mind, but you also want to think about value creation. Now, there's two different ways that you can approach it, right? Because when you file your LLC paperwork, they're going to ask you what your business function is. There are those entrepreneurs who do not want to come to the LLC with an original idea. And that's important. We ain't shading you for that. That's why we have Mary Kay. That's why we have Flat Tummy Tea. That's why we have Vector Knives. I don't know who thought of the idea to have strangers show up to your door with a butcher knife, and you think that that's okay to let them inside and pay them $20 for it. I don't know who thought of that idea, but I'm not going to judge. Not today, not on this live. But that's called essentially business in a box, right? Kind of a home-based business. You get to buy into a business concept that is owned by somebody else, register as an LLC, and benefit from already having products that have been made for you, packaged for you, and you as the entrepreneur who is operating an LLC as an independent contractor with them can sell those products without thinking about an original idea. Okay? Secondly, if you are an independent contractor, you can also file as an LLC. Hey, yo, Keys, what do you mean? If you are driving Uber, let me tell you something. When you register for that paperwork, immediately they're going to say you're either a sole proprietor or an independent contractor. Right? They're not going to be like, let me sit you up here in the class and let you know that you can drive Uber as an LLC, because for them, it's about you ain't an employee. So as Uber, they do not have to pay you employee benefits, such as a 401k. They do not have to give you sick leave. They essentially allow for you to operate outside of being an employee as an independent contractor. But when you register for Uber as a driver, you can register as an LLC and become a business in your car. Yes. You ride in the car, you think you riding the car, you riding around and getting it, riding around on the end of the lyric. When you're delivering groceries for Instacart, you can register as an LLC. When you are running errands as a TaskRabbit, you can register as an LLC. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you do not have an original business idea, you can create value in other ways where the idea has already been established for you, and you bring your labor, your skills, and your expertise to the work, and you registered underneath LLC. And we will define exactly what an LLC is first, but first I want to start with the idea. Now, finally, there are those entrepreneurs that are like, okay, we can ride around and get it as a business in an LLC, right? I don't mind putting your groceries in my back seat and giving you your cucumbers and your fried chicken, walking up 15 flights of steps that you didn't even want to walk up on, and you only tipping me $3. That is somebody's testimony. That's a test. Don't worry. You don't have to do that for very long, baby. Deliverance is coming. But if you're saying I want to bring an original idea to the table as an LLC, that's also okay. And the question that I want you to ask yourself is what problem you're solving that other people want to pay you for. Because usually when people start a business, they want to start with, what do I like to do? What is my hobby, girl? Yesterday, I did this thing with my hair, child, to rip my edges out, but I took a cute Instagram photo with it, got 15 likes, girl. Normally I get 7, that's double. So, maybe that could be a business. Everybody doesn't need their edges. I'm just joking with y'all. But anyway, what I'm saying is, value creation is how can you create the type of solution that other people pay you for. Because if you have created a business to sell a product or service that nobody is buying, you do not have a business, baby. You have a hobby. Let me say that one more time, because when I'm in class and we doing our boot camps, I make everybody clap to it. If you are selling a product or a service that nobody wants to buy, you do not have a business, baby. You got a hobby. And though the government will allow you to operate a hobby like a business for several years, usually between 3 to 5 years, after a while, if you're not making any money with your business, they will designate it as a hobby on your behalf, and they will classify that as a disregarded entity. So time is ticking. Okay? So what is an LLC? And is LLC the best designation for the business idea that you have? I'm reading the comments. I see that people are like, well, what about sole proprietorship? What about a corporation? Where should I be? Should I be an LLP, an LLC, an S corp, C corp? It's all types of, it's the whole alphabet game. Okay? Just rolling up in here. S, C, S. Come on. Well, an LLC stands for a limited liability company, okay? The C stands for company, so limited liability company. And a limited liability company is the type of company that allows for you as an individual to operate like a business, like a company, okay? However, you still file your taxes as if you were an individual, and you get taxed. Your business income gets taxed at your personal income tax rate. So essentially, your LLC, if you are a single member LLC, becomes a pass-through tax organization, which means you operate it as an individual, but your business entity, your business function is separate. Let me go ahead and make it plain, because some of y'all looking up in the air like, girl, hold on, girl, let me grab my Moscato. You're going a little too fast. That's some of y'all on the other side of the camera. That's okay. I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to break it down. Okay, so an LLC limits your liability because it allows you to do business as a business. It allows you to live your life as an individual. So let's say that you own a hair salon. It's in your garage. You decide that you want to put in some passion twists. You don't have miracle fingers. Those miracle fingers will be like, girl, I'm going to braid your hair and it's going to grow 5 inches. 5 inches in 2 weeks, and you're going to have to see me again. Some of y'all don't have those fingers. You put your hand in somebody's scalp, hair fall right on out. If you have a limited liability company and that person comes back and sues you for the 16 years it takes for them to grow them follicles back on their head, they can sue the business, but they don't sue the person. So you limit the liability. The business, if it gets sued and gets in legal trouble, can liquidate its assets in order to pay company debts, but your personal assets like your personal car and your personal home are totally separate, okay? Also, as an individual, there are tax benefits available to you. So if you donate to charity, if you have a child, if you buy a house, that are not available to you as a business owner, right? And that particular business owner, that means that you can write off your office, you can write off your computer if you're using it for work, etc., right? So limited liability company, you can limit your liability as an individual because the liability falls on your company. On the other side of that, you have a sole proprietorship. And that is someone who has just decided one day they're going to start a business, okay? You're not a legal entity per se, but you can still make sales and you can still file your profits and losses on your tax returns. But if something happens and girlfriend says, I'm taking your behind to court in this garage where you did my hair, snatch my edges, and all the hair behind it is going to be mine. If she wins and you have no limited liability protection, etc., she can put her hands on that. Then it's her garage, and she can bring her miracle fingers or non-miracle working fingers in there and try the next head, okay? All right, so let's get started. Well, we've already started. Let's talk about LLC and the first step, okay? So value creation, we talked about that. We defined what an LLC was, and now we're going to talk about how you get busy registering your LLC, okay? So, oh, child, we done got up to 8:14. Come on up in here, BP. We're going to try to get you WP next time on some wealthy people's time. Now, the first thing you do when you register your company is you want to think of a business name. Okay, so we've created value. We've decided we want to be an LLC. I want you to think of a business name. And what you do is I want you to go to the state in which you want to register your business. And you're going to type in state. Make sure I get this right for you now. State Corporation Commission. State Corporation Commission. Okay, and the state. So for Virginia, if you live in Virginia, it would be Virginia State Corporation Commission. That allows for you to search for your business name in the state where you want to register and see if that business name has already been taken. You can put State Corporation Commission in the front of any state and it will populate for wherever you want to register that state. And we'll talk about the best states in which to register, the worst states in which to register, and if you should register your business in your home state. Okay, but that's the first step. Does another business have your name? That is critical. Okay, next, what you want to do is you want to determine in what state you want to register your business. Now, here's going to be my recommendation. We already know that there's been stimulus 1 and there has been stimulus 2. And in both of those stimuluses, the federal government has allocated cash to small businesses like Shake Shack. Some of y'all caught that. Shake Shack is not a small business. So stimulus 2, they have attempted again to give some businesses, to give some money to actual small businesses that need it. Now, in addition to the federal government allocating stimulus dollars, some states have decided to allocate dollars to businesses that are registered inside of their boundaries. So you have to ask yourself if the benefits of getting stimulus support or state-specific benefits where you live is enough for you to register there. Now, the 3 worst places to register your business: New York, California. Your fees are incredibly high. California is going to cost you $800. $800 just to register your LLC. In Iowa, that's another state. Sometimes the taxes there on businesses can be as high as 8%. There are also some states that are very tax friendly to businesses, and that would include Nevada, Wyoming, South Dakota. These 3 states, a lot of businesses like to register their LLCs there, their corporations there, because the tax benefits are beneficial. Now, you have to make whatever decision you're going to make. If you register your business, let's say you want to register your business in Delaware, but you want to do business in New York, well, guess what? you're going to have to register your business in both states, or you can register your business in Delaware. And then there's a certain trick that I'm going to teach you in just a few minutes where you can actually do business in another state, but keep your registration in a tax-friendly state. Stay with me now. Stay with me now. We're going to talk about it, okay? So again, you're going to register you're going to look for your name at State Corporation Commission, your state, and you're going to decide in which state you want to do business. Now next, y'all, this led to a little bit of a battle in my comments section. We're talking about registered agents and in which way you should approach getting a registered agent. When you file your LLC, it is a requirement that you have a registered agent. What is a registered agent? A registered agent is a person, an entity, usually, that allows for you to do business in the state. They accept your mail, right? They accept any mail that you have. They answer phones and correspondence during business hours during the day. They list their business address on the state's website, and they help you or assist you in remaining compliant with your state so that you don't become an entity that is out of touch with your state, and therefore you become incompliant. Now, can you be your own registered agent? The answer is yes. You can put in yourself as your registered agent if you live at a physical address. They will not accept a P.O. box at all. So you must have a physical address. But here are the risks associated with that. One, your physical address, which for most new entrepreneurs is where you live, will become public record. Some of y'all won't even tell your new boyfriend where you live. Y'all still out here meeting at Joe Jameson's Chicken Chat, right? You don't even want him to know where you live. You tell him pull up 2 blocks away. You walk up in your cute heels, teeter-tottling because the 6 inches is too tall. Don't even know where you live. If you register yourself as a registered agent, your address becomes a matter of public record. Secondly, if you choose to be a registered agent, it's going to be your responsibility to be available during the weekdays during business hours, which is 9 to 5. Now, we already talked about how some of us, right, we're working 9 to 5. We're building the dream from 6 p.m. to midnight. So if the state calls at 2 p.m. to talk to you and your boss is like, nah, player, you need to bring your behind up on this Zoom, and you don't pick up the phone, if it happens enough time, you're going to get hit to it that you can't be responsibly your own registered agent. Third, if you're your own registered agent, then you become responsible for keeping track of when files should be formed, or when forms should be filed. Say that 3 times fast. When forms should be filed, and also when you need to re-register with the state, or if perhaps you received a notification that perhaps your state is considering making you a disregarded entity because you haven't generated income in over several years. The benefits of having a registered agent is that you do not have to manage all of that. I have a registered agent for all of my businesses, and I'm able to log into a portal and see the standing of my business in the states where my business is registered. Now, hiring a registered agent will run you between $100 and $300. Okay, you can get a registered agent on LegalZoom, Rocket Lawyer. Those prices there, depending on your budget, might be a little high. I use Incorporate.com, so that's one that I use. You're going to have the CSC is another one that I've used in the past. So you're going to have to make whatever decisions that you make in regard to your registered agent. But here's the thing, because some people miss this. Not every registered agent is created the same. There are some registered agent companies that only have offices in 10 states. They might only have offices in 2 states. Now, if one of those 2 states is the state in which your business is registered, you're Gucci. But if you find a registered agent on the internet and they are only registered in California, but you're doing business in expensive New York, guess what? The state is going to say, your registered agent has no offices here in New York, only in California, and we cannot accept your application. And so my recommendation is, when you're doing your research on how to hire a registered agent, you find one with offices in all 50 states. Because again, the requirement is that your registered agent be available during business hours, okay? That they have a physical address in the location in which you file your paperwork, all right? So I want you to keep that in mind. Can you be your own registered agent? Is it worth the additional fees to pay for a registered agent? I would say absolutely. So let's keep going, all right? Next, you're going to file your articles of organization. Now, I don't want this to be confused with articles of incorporation, all right? So the articles of incorporation are what you file when you are filing for an S corporation, C corporation, hence the corporation on the other side of the S and the C, right? But if we're filing paperwork as an LLC, then guess what we're doing, y'all? We're filing the articles of organization. Do not pay anyone to do this service. In fact, you can go on to the website of the state in which you want to operate your LLC, and they will provide you a template to use. That template is going to ask you, what is your business name? What is your business function? If your business has any officers, it's going to ask you about your registered agent. Where's your registered agent's address? So it's going to ask you some simplistic questions that I promise you can answer. Your articles of organization serve as your organizational charter. It is an agreement between your business and the state that helps legalize you to do business there. Let me repeat this, because there are some enterprising individuals that will be like, I will file your articles of organization if you pay me $200. Save that $200 for your filing fee, especially if you're living in New York and California, because I promise you're going to need it, okay? No shade, no shade, no tea, no shade. Hold on, let me sip my tea. No tea, no shade, but y'all got some high fees. Save it, because your state allows you to get that document for free, okay? So that serves as your organizational charter, all right? The state level. Now, let's say you do this in New York, but you decide to do business again in California, and you decide that you want to file a separate LLC in the state of California, you're going to have to create a different agreement with that state, okay? So you'll have to go through the same steps with that state, same articles of organization with that state. Your charter is an agreement between your business and the state in which you file. So let's keep going. Next, your operating agreement. Now, most people who are starting an LLC are starting off as a single member LLC. And what that means is that it's just you. There's just me. Come on, somebody sing it. Some of y'all like Jill. 1 is the magic number. And if it's just you, yourself, and I, like Beyonce said, I got me, myself, and I, to the left, to the left, to the left. Listen, y'all, I love the Carters. But if it's just you, you're just a single member LLC, what I want you to do is your operating agreement, make it as simple as possible, because your operating agreement are simply the laws that help rule your LLC, right? So you're to help rule your LLC. It says how the LLC is going to operate on a day-to-day basis. If you disagree with yourself, find a mirror and have a conversation. Now, if you have a multi-member LLC, okay, multi-member LLC, you're going to bring in other members. Other members means that there are other owners. Now, at this point, you do want to have a conversation about how often you're going to meet, about ownership, who owns what and what percent, right? You're going to talk about what type of assets you want to acquire as a multi-member LLC. Shout out to my black family LLC course, right? That teaches you how to do business with family and friends. It's a multi-member LLC. So you're going to have those conversations, and I recommend that you bring in an attorney. Y'all already know not all skin folk is kinfolk, honey. Everybody is always friends when the business starts. Oh, we all chummy. Oh my gosh, the business is going to be so great. We're going to do amazing together. And then you ask them to pay up, right? Their fee as an owner to get started, and all of a sudden people get ghosts. You know your Uncle JoJo and your Aunt Sweekie, they owe you $250 from 15 years ago, and every single time they see you, they say, baby, I got you. The operating agreement means that the law rules everything and nothing is above the law. The operating agreement is that law. So if you have multiple members in your LLC, Then you want to make sure to have the operating agreement reviewed by an attorney before everybody signs. But if it's just you, if you're the only person operating your LLC, go ahead, put the draft rule together. If you feel like an attorney needs to look at it, that's fine. You can keep the documents simple. For some states, you can file your LLC paperwork and take 60 days to create, up to 60 days to complete your operating agreement and then submit those at a later date. But please make sure you check with your state, okay? So that's not with every state. Some states you can submit it retroactively up to 60 days. Check your state. Now, let's keep going, all right? Send me your heart if you're learning a little something. Next, your EIN. So your EIN is your employer identification number. I'm gonna say that a little bit slower. Your employer identification number. It has the same amount of numbers as your social security number, okay? In fact, it's like your business's social security number. You can file your EIN for free 99. Free 99. Listen, there's some enterprising entrepreneurs out there. They'll be like, girl, boyfriend, I'll file your EIN. $399. Don't let them put your hand in their pocket. Filing an EIN is free 99, and you can do it on the IRS website. Don't let anybody charge you for this, okay? Now, the question you should be asking me, right, is what are the benefits of having an EIN? Well, with an EIN, you are now officially on record with the federal government. That's why you get one from the IRS. You're going to need your EIN to open a business account under your registered LLC name. And the question is, should you get your EIN before or after your LLC paperwork is approved by the state in which you register? And that answer is you should wait. Sit your little happy behind down. You should wait. Why should you wait? Why should you wait? Because for those people who came to class early tonight, you know that one of the first steps was you needed to search and make sure that your business name was not taken by another entity. Now, sometimes this happens. People will get super excited. They're like, Professor Keys, I hear your advice, but I'm grown. And then they throw some hair at me and they go and get their EIN because they're so excited to have their LLC. And then what happens is their state comes back to them and says, hey, all of your paperwork looks good. However, nevertheless, we found a business that wants your business name. And so we've already approved them for the business name. Resubmit your paperwork with another business name. Now, if at that point, you have completed your EIN paperwork with the IRS and you've submitted that name is now attached to a different organization. It's not attached to your LLC anymore, okay? So wait until your LLC paperwork has been approved by the state and returned, and then go ahead and file your EIN. Then you know that there's no trouble. Now, in small instances, okay, you can be like, your business name is so unique. Well, yes, you can file your EIN before, right? You can file your EIN before and there's no problems, but you don't want to take that risk, okay? You don't want to have to, again, spend your time doing it all over again. Now, I know you're going to be like, but girl, it only took me a few minutes. Well, I'm going to say, listen, girlfriend, but we said that time is a non-replenishable asset and you shouldn't be wasting it. So how about you just do it right the first time? Take this hair, toss it across my shoulder. Now, let's keep going, all right? So, filing fees. We talked a little bit about that a little bit earlier. It is not free to get an LLC, right? So we talked about New York and California being really expensive. Iowa is also another expensive state. And we also talked about states that are super affordable and have really good tax laws, you know, so that's Delaware, South Dakota, Wyoming. Those are states that have really good tax codes. But I want you to make sure that you do your research before, right, you deciding what state you register. Right now in this climate, I highly recommend again that you choose a state, the state in which you decide you want to operate your business, okay? So the last thing that we are going to talk about is foreign qualification, All right, foreign qualification. Actually, we have two things because I'm going to talk about taxes just a little bit. We're going to have part 2 next Wednesday. But foreign qualification just means that you can do business in one state and you can qualify yourself to do business in a different state without registering a separate LLC. So this is what I was talking about earlier. You register your business in LLC, you file for a foreign qualification in Virginia where you live, and now you can do business in Virginia without opening a different LLC. Now, if you're operating a business where there is a lot of risk, there may be some benefit to having separate LLCs in different states. Kids, what do you mean? Well, for those of you all who may decide to start an LLC that owns real estate, if you file for an LLC that holds real estate in California and you file for a different LLC that holds real estate in Nevada, if one of your tenants gets into an accident in Nevada and they sue you, only the properties under the LLC in Nevada will have to be liquidated if they're found, if it's found in their favor in order to cover any bills that are due on their end. They wouldn't be able to get the assets in the state of California, which is a separate LLC. Okay? So somebody said, run that back. Okay, stay with me. Let's say you have an LLC. Your LLC buys real estate and holds it and rents it to tenants, okay? You register your LLC in Delaware. You also buy property in Delaware. You get tenants to live in that property in Delaware. Your business is going so well in Delaware that you decide to open a different LLC in Virginia. You register it. You go through the process. You spend your asset money, your cash flow from your assets in Virginia, buying more property in Virginia. But now there's a different LLC. There's LLC A in Delaware, and now there's a different LLC B in Virginia. Now, LLC A in Delaware, Nuck decides that he wants to jump out the shower without no shower shoes, slips and falls, breaks his calf muscle, if such a calf muscle exists. He takes you to court because he said he fell because you did not take care of the towel in the bathroom. And because of that, even if he had on shower shoes, he would have fell and broke his calf muscle. He takes you to court and you lose. Now, they got to find the money to pay Nuck because he needs a new calf muscle. Now, they're going to look at all the assets that you have, all right? Now, the assets that you have are an LLC A in Delaware. Now, Nuck got wind that you also have a different LLC in Virginia. He's like, I want all the assets in Delaware, boo, and I want all the assets in Virginia. Well, because you have 2 separate LLCs, your liability is limited to 2 different entities. So Nuck got you in Delaware, but Nuck don't got you in Virginia. Yeah, somebody was like, Nuck, if you buck. Hey, Nuck, if you buck. Look, he can buck in Delaware. He cannot buck in Virginia. So that's what I mean. Now, when we're talking about foreign qualification, right, foreign qualification, that means that you would have opened your business in Delaware, bought your houses in Delaware, put Nuck in the house where he don't wear shower shoes. You'd have qualified your business to also operate in Virginia without opening a different LLC, opened more houses with more tenants, and now Nuck bucked at you in the court system, and now he can have LLC A in Delaware, and now LLC A is also in Virginia. Okay? So I hope that made a lot of sense to you. And I hope that demystified it. And I hope that when Nuck tries to buck, he can only buck in one LLC because you have smartly separated your assets. So I want you to be smart about it, okay? I always talk about the language of wealth. And how there are, I believe that, especially with financial literacy, that sometimes the powers that be has made terminology so complicated that sometimes it locks people out because they refuse to try. That's why we started this live out by talking about impossible is our starting point. Difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week. I may not understand foreign qualification today, but baby, give me until tomorrow, right? I might have just learned about LLC 40 minutes ago. Give me 4 days. I have the LLC established in the state where I reside, where the money resides, okay? So I want you to be patient with yourself, even as you attempt to understand the information being delivered to you, because on the other side of understanding is assets. Now, part 2, which I hope to do next Wednesday. So I'm doing these Wealth Wednesdays every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We're going to walk through the tax benefits that are available to you as a business owner. These tax benefits are available as a sole proprietor, as an LLC, as an LLP, as an S Corp, as a C Corp. We're going to talk about the 475 deductions. We're not going to do all 475, but we're going to talk about the top 15, especially since it's tax season. So that means that this is the time for Uncle Sam to do what? Write you your check. So thank you so much for being on this live with me. I see 800 people joined tonight. I hope that this was useful and valuable to you. This recording is going to be on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Go on YouTube, search Professor Keys. Thanks to your wonderful support, I've gotten 40,000 subscribers in 3 weeks. And so I hope in a couple of weeks to be doing these talks live on YouTube. I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening to me, for trusting me. And until next Wealth Wednesday, I wish you all the best on your wealth journey.